works. Alas, yes. Yo, what's going on, folks? Haven't been on here in forever. Hey, Roof Zippa, how's it going? Big dog. Not gonna be on here forever. Truthfully, I want to watch this one video. I listened to this yesterday while I was at work, and it was unbelievable. There's an ogre on the loose.
Fee, fi, fo, fum.
The giant. True, he actually is. He's like 6'8". A real big ogre looking bastard. You guys know him? John Fetterman. You know him? the big like troll looking bastard. You have to watch this. Should maybe wait. Like, Tony Spaniard, how's it going? I didn't mean to just post this link here quick and boom. It's posted. But all right, it's a 30-minute interview, so I'm not gonna fuck around. We're gonna get started right off the bat. Has to happen. Look at this guy. This bald fuck. He's a stroke victim. He's a stroke survivor. He's a survivor. He ain't gonna give up. Is that too loud? This thing I have going on here in the background. That's better. Much better. But let's get started. I have this pulled up for you guys. I would have been so fucking mad had I not checked that. Window capture. There we go. He says, hey, we don't gotta punch our allies in the face. He tells a bunch of lies in here too. He's like, I'm gonna go home to a fucking, he's like a 400 square foot apartment or some bullshit. He's like, yeah, I live across the street from a fucking steel place. I live across the street from a steel mill. But yeah, let's start this up.
Looming possible government shutdown and Speaker.
Holy shit. You'll notice as time goes on, as this interview continues on, he really starts to struggle with the things he's saying. He can't fucking keep it together.
Johnson has put together a proposal without any input from Democrats, and really one that gives free reign to President Trump to spend however he likes. If it makes it through the House, how are you going to vote?
No, I mean, absolutely. I don't.
All right, so that's a simple question, right? We'll go back and listen to that just one more time. She's like, hey, Mike Johnson got a thing through the House, no input from Democrats. What do you think? That's your party. If it makes its way to the Senate, what are you going to do? How are you going to vote for it? There we go.
Trump to spend however he likes. If it makes it through the House, how are you going to vote?
No, I mean, absolutely. I don't support or I agree with the way they've approached that. But if the House Republicans pass it and then they send it over to the Senate, now I've been on the record saying, I'm going to have to vote for that. Yes, because
it's like, goddamn. It's like, why? He's like, if they say it's not that I agree with it, but I'm gonna vote.
Then that's then that would make that would shut our government down, and then that puts it on Democrats to withhold our votes and our support. We don't agree with what's been sent to us, but if we
you know what? Like, what happens usually when it's like, oh, dog, we don't agree with what's been sent to us. It's like, well, then just don't vote for it, you big dumb ogre. What the fuck? Like, what are we even talking about here? It's not that I agree with it or anything.
Hold our votes. That is going to shut the government down. And
and there's another. So I keep pausing it and shit, but there's an article too. I fucking listened to it the other day. I'll have to fucking read it to you guys. This asshole has like a fucking. He has The whole article is talking about him being like the loneliest guy. He's like the loneliest Democrat in the Senate, the loneliest member of the Senate. And he talks about Israel in there. He's got like a fucking, he's got pictures of the hostages on the walls of his Senate office. This guy's a total psycho.
I think that's one of our core responsibilities in the Senate or in the government here, to not ever allow the government to shut down. And I would see that it become, for Democrats, we're going to burn the village down just to save it. And now, if we are concerned the way our economy could be teetering into a recession, and if the government shut down.
What's hilarious too is he's like, it's like teetering on the edge of a shutdown. It's just fucking goes to show you like how absolutely spineless these people are. He's like, teetering on the edge of a shutdown. It's my job to fucking vote for it. It's like, come on, brother. And she asks him then later on, she's like, hey, what are you going to change your party or something? Like, what the fuck is this?
Nudges that towards that. I think that's something that the government,
Disinfectant, how's it going,
the Republicans,
buddy?
That the Democrats will own shutting the government down. And I think,
which is insane. He's like, it'll be the Democrats' fault if the government gets shut down. It's like, hey, will it? It's like, would it really be? I guess that vote happened today. I don't even know what happened there. Fetterman, what is this? Fetterman's goiter is his brain. Hey, what's going on, Wyatt, man?
I think that would be the wrong kind of message, because that would have a substantial impact on millions and millions of innocent Americans by stuck in the middle of this battle.
In the past, you have been a big supporter of progressive policies. You endorse.
He's like, they could put like a flaming bag of shit on my desk. He's like, and it's like, well, I don't like it, but I'm gonna fuck it. Yeah.
Bernie Sanders in 2016. And right now, some folks are saying, John Fetterman, he's going down to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Trump. Where's our guy?
Yeah, well, I would grab a beer with Bernie right now if I join it.
Where's our guy? We're looking for our guy. He's going down to Mar-a-Lago. So I grab a beer with Bernie. It's like, that's not the question. He's about to say some like real retard shit.
And I talked to the president, just like I'm having a conversation with you as well, too. When anyone's playing it straight, just the way as you are or whatever, I'm going to have a conversation with everything. So for my views, this message, the Democratic message, as long as willing to take the time to hear it in a straight way, I'm going to have that conversation.
You mentioned the economy. Is that one place where it's hard for you to be aligned with other Democrats?
Oh, no. TF, the guy with the eye patch, that is Dan Crenshaw. I think he's still lurking around somewhere. I heard something about him recently, but I don't think it had any, I think it was just, unrelated moron shit that he does, pirate stuff, like weirdo fucking, it's like, hey, asshole, who do you think you are? Fucking Blackbeard?
In your party. You represent a state, specifically where you're from, that was built on manufacturing jobs that over the last few decades, thousands and thousands of those manufacturing jobs have been lost every year. So is it hard for you to say, yep, the economy under President Biden was great because...
No, he doesn't have a speech impediment. He had a stroke the other year.
The economy for your fellow lawmakers in a Connecticut or New York or New Jersey is a different economic reality for the people who live where you do.
Well, sure, but I'd like to just, say,
tell her about your apartment, John. Tell her about your apartment across the street from the steel mill. Tell her.
I am a Democrat. I'm going to remain a Democrat. I know there's a lot of conspiracies that I'm going to change my party or I'm not going to go independent. Independents, they're free riders.
They're free riders. Shit. Like, I think there's two independent senators in the Senate. Angus King from Maine, who caucuses with the Democrats, And Bernie Sanders, he's just like, the fucking independents are he's like they're fucking free riders, man.
They'll run as a Democrat, but that's free riders. And I'm not going anywhere. I am a Democrat. And now with what you just described as well too.
You're gonna have another stroke. Look at him.
Across
He's having a rough time.
the street from a steel mill, the steel mill that was in the middle of that gigantic U.S. Steel Nippon there.
The one steel mill.
The second that dropped, I jumped up on the roof of my home and I said, you know, we are going to jam this up. And we went right to the White House and we jammed that up because I'm going to follow the union throughout all of that. And that's what I've consistently done. And I might disagree. I could have disagreed with President Biden, or I might disagree with President Trump on how this all settles out. But for me,
true.
You know,
yeah, brother, we left like Britain years ago. What are you talking about?
No, I am always going to protect and defend the union way of life for making steel in the Valley since 1875.
Then what's your take on tariffs? Because there are a lot of people in the union space, right? Sean Fain of the UAW is open to the idea of tariffs, and maybe people who live where you do with the idea that it's going to bring manufacturing jobs back. But is it a false promise?
No, I mean, like, for example, I thought the CHIPS Act was magnificent.
We got to get to the part. There's like some fucking real gems at the end. He starts confusing the lady doing the interview because there's like a point in this where he's like, you know, I'm just trying to like fake a way forward. She's like, what are you talking about?
Some of the markets start to wobble, and we have enough enemies in the world. You know, I think we should be really squatting up with our kinds of allies.
Squatting up.
Like Canada or Mexico.
The president has said these tariffs could cause...
And doesn't he understand? He's like, we should be squatting up with Canada or Mexico. It's like, brother, that's what's going on. It's just gonna be one place. You know what I'm saying?
Short-term economic pain for long-term gain.
Very much.
You've got an agriculture secretary. But hold on. You say very much. Do you think that there'll be long-term gain? That the tariffs will hurt in the short term, but in the long term they'll be good?
We'll never know. But I just don't understand why we want to find out. That's my concern. So like I said,
we'll never know. It's like we will know, like sooner than later. With the passage of time, you fucking retard. We'll never know, but I don't know why we would want to find out.
Have disagreements, but we don't have to, again, punch, you know, our allies in the mouth because...
This guy, our allies.
I don't think that's projecting strength. I think that's projecting chaos or instability, and the markets don't like that. The American business community, they want stability. You know, no one will vote for chaos. So that
no one will vote for chaos. It's like, brother, people don't. No one even knows what they're voting for. So fucking.
That's another.
Like, how the fuck did you get into the Senate? If people like had any idea, they see this asshole, they voted for him because they're like, this is the first time that I've fucking seen a person wear Carhartts and shit.
And why I can never vote to shutting the government down for me, because the second any party becomes perceived to be the party of chaos, that's when they lose.
But you've got people who you represent who believe that Donald Trump is fighting for them. And he's saying, yep, we're going to have some short-term...
Larry, he uses 500 words when 5 would suffice. Is he retarded? He is retarded, TF. Yes. This man is retarded.
Economic pain. You have an agriculture secretary saying, yep, egg prices are high. You should have a chicken coop. Raise chickens in your backyard. How long do you think people, or are people going to give the president leeway while prices are high? Because you know that so many people voted against Kamala Harris because of inflation, and here we are still...
And because she's black. Like, can't you see? Like, does this woman need a prescription for some new contacts? Like, are you kidding?
Riddled with high prices, higher in some instances.
And she had a wacky laugh and told stories about coconut people.
Yes.
Okay, well, for me, like, it was just announced this morning that they just canceled $1 billion in buying food for food banks and for school lunches. And why would they do that? I mean, the vast majority of farmers are your voters. They're all Republicans. And there are a lot of schools in red counties and blue counties, like basic school lunches and supporting our farmers. That's basic fundamental government. I mean, I don't know why that's
He says shit. Oh my God, guys.
That's not controversial.
And that's, why is this? You know why he's wearing shorts? I bet you if we look, he's probably wearing Velcro shoes as well. I don't know, he's 6'8". There's something wrong with this guy. He wears this stuff because he has to, I bet. Although he did don a suit. I guess there was these fucking morons were like doing a part of their play and bullshit were arguing about dress codes and in the Senate chambers, the holy ground, right?
Now, eggs, for example.
He showed up with the suit.
Now, sometimes politicians talk about eggs, and then someone like you will ask it's like, well, how much did you pay? And they're like, because they actually did. They're not. But I do my own shopping. I paid $5.49 for a dozen.
Congratulations.
Giant Eagles.
I do my own shopping. My mom don't have to do my shopping.
Eagles, that's a Western PA. Eagles, and Eagles? That's more than anybody would want. But I even stopped and talked to some shoppers. And I'm like, hey, can I ask you, what do you think? And they're like, it's really too much, and we need to bring it down. So I would invite and join President Trump to do that hyper warp for eggs. So
hyper warp. Dude, this guy. Okay, so that was in 2020, right? In 2020, I wasn't even paying attention to politics. And it was warp speed. This guy's in the fucking Senate. He's like, I would do the hyper warp.
Solve that problem.
I would
just like you did that hyper warp.
Solve the problem.
Hyper warp for the vaccine, and that worked out. So now attack and find a way to lower the cost of eggs, because Americans do want that, and I know how much they cost, but it was very successful and
well, also, you know what? He also made it sound like it really wasn't that expensive. He's like, I go to fucking Eagles. Eagles, what is that? I go to Eagles, and the eggs are $5.49 a dozen. And now he's like, I know how expensive they are, and, we got to figure it out, get the hyper warp. But he must not be listening. He might need to get his fucking, look at these goblin ears. These look like Legolas's ears from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, folks. Orlando Bloom.
Transform, and we're talking on the 5th anniversary of COVID, that the vaccine really, and they saved people that I know and that I love. And
can you prove it? Like, do you know that for sure? I didn't get the vaccine. I'm still alive. You know what I'm saying? We're out here.
I would say it's that same kind of thing. I would join him for doing something like those things.
I want to stay on that join him. How do you work with this president? Because during the campaign and before, Democrats talked about President Trump being a threat to democracy, right? The word fascism was thrown out there. You have said those words are not helpful. So what is the path to work with him?
And also, aren't these guys are like dumb as shit. They think that, and you know what? I could be wrong on this, but fascism is like a defined thing. There's a definition to that. You just don't find something that you're like, oh, this is authoritarian. This is fascism. It's like that's not. I don't think that's how that works. I think it has to do with government and corporate cooperation. I think it has something to do with that. She's like, the words get thrown around like this and that and this and that. People say many things. People say lots of stuff.
Because there's lots of people who are saying, hold on a minute.
Lots of people.
He's doing all the things that he threatened to do, that you warned us against. So how do you work with a guy when he's fulfilling those scary promises?
Well, what I'm saying, though, it's like I happen to know and love a lot of people that voted for Trump, and they're not fascists, and they're not.
hold on. Ivan Popovac. Hey, Vicodin man. The show's not going to be any different because I'm not going to repost these, but I'm going to be over here. Fuck Odyssey. Everyone hates it, and I hate it.
Not looking to destroy democracy or all of those kinds of
and I fucking hate it, man.
If you go to that extreme, there's nowhere to come back after when you've already said those things. And
he's like, listen, man, it's easier to not say something than it is for you. I mean, it's whatever. Kind of get what he's saying here. It's like the idea that Trump is like a fascist or something. Like, well, what the fuck are you people talking about?
And so, like, that's just not the way government really works. And now we're less than 2 months into his administration.
The hyper war.
And, there's so much kinds of hyperventilating, and that it's like at some point, 48 months and we're not even into 2. That's not sustainable. So for me, it's like we need to find a way to get through that. And I'm not dumb. I know that there's a lot of
I'm not dumb. He's like, I'm not dumb. I'm smart, and I want respect.
People want to yell or to a lot of performative kinds of thing, but I'm that guy. I'm going to be that Democrat that's never going to lie to you.
He's starting to get fatigued in the brain. His brain's starting to melt. Here's where I think he starts fucking up. He's like, they want people to be performative and make noise and be mad. He's like, but I'm that guy. He is that guy. Now he's going to tell you why he's not that guy. But he doesn't know. Look at these eyes. These eyes are crying out. He can still remember what it was like when he was like a young man and had it all together in his brain before like parts of it stopped working.
And I'm never going to change my core values, and I'm going to be that kind of Democrat you can count on for values. But I'm going to vote and agree on some things. I might disagree on some of those things, but I'm not going to pander.
I'm gonna like some stuff, and I'm gonna not like some stuff.
And I'm not going to pretend I'm not something.
And
I'm not going to jump in and do a lot of things because it's really all about monetizing that.
I'm not gonna jump in and do a lot of things. It's like, God. I think the interviewer, like, the interview's about to take a dark turn. You're in for it now, buddy. You fucked around.
And raising money for themselves, and unlimited money has essentially turned elected officials like we're OnlyFans models, and we're just turning everything and trying to monetize things.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude. Hey, man, she's like, this guy is a fucking psycho. What are you talking about, dude? Like, what the fuck?
Really all about monetizing that.
For real, though, what is he talking about? What was the fucking question?
And I'm not dumb. I know that there's a lot of people want to yell or to a lot of performative kinds of thing, but I'm that guy. I'm going to be that Democrat that's never going to lie to you, that I'm never going to change my core values, and I'm going to be that kind of Democrat you can count on for values. But I'm going to vote and agree on some things. I might disagree on some of those things, but I'm not going to pander and I'm not going to pretend I'm not something. And I'm not going to jump.
Also, I'm sorry to pause, but when he's like, I'm not going to pander, it's like, brother, what do you mean by pander? It's like, so do you mean vote the way that your constituents want you to? Like, is that what you're talking about, brother? Like, what the? I'm not going to pander and muda OnlyFans models.
And do a lot of things because it's really all about monetizing that and raising money for themselves. And unlimited money has essentially turned elected officials like we're OnlyFans models, and we're just turning everything and trying to monetize things.
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about, it's like a lot of jumping on your network and yelling and saying things that they turn those clips and then they drop it in an email.
Also, he is like specifically talking about his party right now because they're the only people that are like getting on these news networks and being mad about shit. So he's just like, these people, but he's like not mentioning who it is. But who else could this fucking ogre be talking about?
or they're just trying to raise money for
And you don't
those things.
think
I know my
Republicans-
colleagues that are raising a lot of money doing that.
You don't think Republicans are doing the same thing, sir?
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's just a Democratic thing. It's Republicans too. But what I'm
Both
saying though, it's like I
sides.
know what the market's looking for in that.
Both
but
of them.
I'm the kind of Democrat that's restrained, and I'm going to pick my spots and respond when you have something.
Yeah, pick
that
yeah, you're
it's-
gonna pick your spot, all right. Spot to fucking lay down and take a nap, huh?
It's really a total kind of crisis.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that's happening, I don't agree with many of it, but I don't think it's helpful.
I don't agree with many of it. I don't agree with many of it.
To turn everything into everything's a crisis, or I jump in the heads on fire situation.
And it's like also, he's like, I don't think that people should act like everything's a crisis. This guy can't even read. There's no fucking way that he reads like anything put on his desk. They like put, Dr. Seuss books on this guy's desk or something. And they're like, here, John, read this. I don't know who the fuck is even running the show over there. Is that I have to read?
But are there some things that you think are a crisis? A week into the presidency, you said he hasn't done anything I'm surprised by. But now we're almost 2 months in.
The shit about Social Security is infuriating. And Fetterman is just like, it's like, brother, like, yeah, some of the shit, like, hey, we're on board with the fucking deporting people. We're on board with that. Get them out. But the fucking over old people, and you know what else? Me in the future, in like fucking 40 years in the distant future. Because I don't think I can retire till I'm like fucking 68, 67, 68. It'll be like 75. Well, people live longer, so they should work longer. It's like you can't even enjoy the twilight years of your life. Are you fucking kidding me? And this guy's, what are they doing with Social Security? Oh, brother, it's a whole lot of stuff. I would like to just refer you to an episode of a program I did like last week. But essentially, what they're doing by cutting staff at the Social Security Administration, they want to make it so that the program runs shittily, like really, really horribly, bad customer service and all that shit, maybe miss some payments and whatnot, so that the American public is okay with like privatizing it or getting rid of it in the form it is now. And like the no tax on overtime thing sounds good, but it's also more hours that are not being taxed for Social Security, thus will like deplete the Social Security, like supplemental Social Security, like trust fund thing they have going on sooner than it is already. And when that's out, you're only going to be receiving like 79 to like 82% of your benefits. It's a lot of my dad just retired too. So I'm fucking pissed about it. But like the no tax on overtime, no tax on tip stuff sounds great. Consider like the fact that you're overtime, like you're not paying more taxes on overtime. You're unless it like bumps you up into a different bracket like the end of the year. But like you're paying the same tax rates on your overtime. You can look it up. So the no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. These are all just less stuff, less Social Security taxes that are going in. What they need to do is they need to get rid of the cap on that shit, so people that make over $176,100 are paying into it. Just the fucking same as I am. Every dollar I make is taxed for it. What is this? Privatized the loony farms back in the day, and it was highly successful. I'd have to privatize the loony bins? What, the asylums? Isn't that where homelessness came from? Hold on. You have to be kidding. You have to be kidding. Isn't that where like a whole bunch of these fucking lunatic homeless people are coming from? Otherwise, these freaks would be in a loony bin.
And we've got a complete about face on Ukraine. We've got the tariffs. We've got DOGE. Is there anything that you do think is a 4-alarm fire?
Yeah, let's talk about Ukraine. I've been an unapologetically supporter of Ukraine, 100%. One of the best things I've ever done as a senator is like voting for that aid.
Okay, he's about to. No, it's definitely a joke. He's kidding. I don't know who TF is, but I think that he's from the Cauldron because he knew who Drifter was. Drifting out here, dude. Real drifting hours. Wow, wow. Doge mentioned
For Ukraine, for Israel, and for Taiwan.
he starts talking about
but some
Israel.
of the members of my party voted against aid for Israel.
She asked about Ukraine. He's like, let's talk about Ukraine. Some of the people in my party voted against aid for Israel. It's like, brother, what are we doing here? What is this fucking nightmare?
I can't understand that. So with
he's like, I just can't understand why they would vote against aid for Israel. I couldn't possibly get it. It's like, brother, you couldn't even begin to understand. You couldn't figure it out.
Ukraine, I don't agree the president's approach with Ukraine. I don't believe the way.
Hell yeah, I lost some weight, dude. I was fucking 230 pounds. I'm 185 pounds now.
He treated Zelensky in the White House was appropriate. But also there's an undenying dynamic too that Ukraine, it don't have the kinds of cards. And
dude, there's the couple it seems like there's a few undeniable things right now that Ukraine doesn't have the cards. It's like, he's just like fucking picking things, like different like sentences that he's heard along the way. He's like, they don't have the cards right now. It's like, who are you? What the fuck are we talking about? Are we in a casino right now? Are they the dealer or something? So Donald Trump said that. You don't have the cards. You don't have the cards.
And that war is not sustainable for Ukraine or Russia. And I'm hopeful that there's going to be a peaceful end, and that needs to end.
Why do you think there's going to be a peaceful end? Given what the president's done in the last week, pulling back intelligence, pulling back military aid, possibly
not things I would do, not things that I would do, but
dude, Russian thoughtbot, yeah. His ears are like satellites. I just mentioned earlier in this stream, I was like, look at this guy's ears. They're like Legolas from the fucking Lord of the Rings.
But I wasn't surprised to see Zelensky back to the negotiating table because that...
To the negotiating table, dude. I didn't see Zelensky back to the negotiating table. Like, holy fuck.
Pulling back intelligence, pulling back military aid, possibly
not things I would do, not things that I would do. But I wasn't surprised to see Zelensky back to the negotiating table because that's the truth, is that this...
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't see it. To the negotiating table.
This war is not sustainable, and it needs to end. And
we gotta come back to the
agree with some of the
table.
Tactics that the president is using, but it doesn't change the truth. As an unapologetic supporter of Ukraine, without some of those tactics, that war needs to end. And I am hopeful, and I'm absolutely supporting there needs to be a path for peace in that terrible war.
It's very clear that you do.
Dude, I think, all right, I don't know if it's in this interview or another one of his interviews I was listening to. He fucking, or if it was someone making fun of him, there was like Palestine protesters in front of his house, and he like gets out on top of his roof with like an Israeli flag and like stands up there and waves it.
Do not support the idea that some other Democrats do to just resist. But what is your take on your Republican colleagues who seem to be giving an open path, I guess I would say, to President Trump? He can spend how he doesn't have to spend money that Congress has already allocated. He can wipe out agencies that Congress put together. And some could argue it's...
What do you have to say about that, John?
There isn't a checks and balance when it comes to how Republicans
What do you have to say about that?
Yeah. Again, those are the kind of tactics. Those are the kind of the
what
weird
a
fight.
fucking... You know what? I'm just noticing this, guys. That's a good point. He won't look this woman in the eyes.
I don't... I think a lot of people, even some Democrats, approach this at first like open mind, like, hey, if we can make our government more efficient, or we can save our tax payers money, like we can all agree.
I can't stop. I won't be able to not notice it now. What a pussy.
Agree on that. A lot of those tactics, I don't agree with that.
Stare
but
her down,
as you
John.
probably have seen, that these kinds of conflicts go to court.
John,
and
she's
now a
getting
lot of
uppity.
these courts have jammed these things up and stopped these. And I'm not aware of any of them where the White House have defied those. And now, if they ever do that, that would be a true constitutional crisis.
This guy doesn't even know it. He's like, and then we won't be able to just take it back to the negotiating table.
So that, by definition, that is a constitutional crisis.
But we're not in one yet.
Yeah, we're not in one not. It's like possibly.
We're not in one not.
The President Trump
begins.
is absolutely testing his limits of his power. You know, all presidents do that, maybe not in that extreme. But by definition, a constitutional crisis is if a sitting president.
Guys, we're going to get the definition here. Fucking got Webster in the chair.
President defies a court ruling, just like Andrew Jackson did that and turned that into the Trails of Tears. So if President Trump ever does defy the Supreme Court, then that's I'd be the first person to start very, very aggressive in identifying, hey, that is a constitutional crisis here.
Are you concerned?
I would be one of the first people to start saying that this is a constitutional crisis. It's like, motherfucker. It's like, I've been hearing people say that for fucking like 6 weeks now. He's like, well, if it happened, then I would be the first to say it. It's like, I don't think that you would. In the very sentence, you're complaining that everybody else is already doing this, and then you're like, I would be the first to say it. Doesn't make any sense, John. Half your brain works.
Concerned about what these Doge cuts?
She needs to fucking say, dude, she's disgusted. She needs to look him in the face and say, look at me, John. Look at me.
Are going to do to your state, right? Many thousands of these federal government jobs aren't based in D.C. Pennsylvania, according to your governor, has 100,000 federal government jobs. Penn State, right, has tens of thousands of employees. And if suddenly public funding from public universities is pulled, thousands.
No, I just like making fun of John Fetterman.
Of jobs are lost. What will that do to Pennsylvania's economy?
Although I tell you what, there's going to be the next few episodes of that program. There's going to be a lot of just like shitting on Democrats specifically, spineless fucking pussies.
Yeah, well, and again, of course, that's going to have an impact, and regardless how many of them are ultimately left hold, and I don't support gutting those 80,000.
This guy, I think, well, you know what, Zach, they're going to talk. Is that Zach? Zask. So they're gonna talk. I think she asks him here shortly. I listened to a couple interviews of this guy, and one of them he's asked, it's like, hey, you know, what's the deal with like the change in a lot of your stuff? And then he's like, you know, I think I really bring a new perspective because I almost died.
Employees
like a fucking,
at the VAE.
like a near-death
the veterans deserve the absolute best. But let's revisit this idea. Now, if this is, and those things that I don't agree that Doge are
Penn
doing,
State is in Pennsylvania.
if they're going to damage, our government, well, what's going to happen if we as Democrats vote to shut it down? Because those will be under terms that we don't agree with or like. But we are going to have to, if the Republicans pass that, we have to make that decision that withholding our votes would result in the government shutting down. And
this like idiot doesn't even understand like their rationale for not wanting to vote for it. And it's his party. It's like, brother, they don't want to vote for it because it's not a continuing resolution. There's a whole bunch of shit, and it also doesn't matter because this was an argument I heard today as well. Russ Vought, the Office of Management and Budget, has said that he's just going to impound the fucking money anyway. He's like, that it's a piece of paper, we'll just rip it up when it's passed. So it's not like it really even fucking, so just like, why, in a way, like, you voting for it, you're like, yeah, go ahead. Like, here's a fucking bunch of money you can just spend however the fuck you want. And I need to, like, do some reading on this, but I heard from two people today there was like some fucking, he did some emergency funding where he could just bypass Congress and all this shit. And he sent like fucking $17 billion to Israel since he's been president.
Then that's going to be a responsibility that we would own.
Before we get off here.
Then what is the path forward for Democrats?
Well, of course, there has to be, and I'm very optimistic. We are going to reclaim the majority in the House. It's already hyper close already, and you don't have to be a genius or have a degree in politics to know.
He can't even. He keeps fucking like wiping his hands, and he's like, ugh.
There's always a backlash against the incumbent party, so I wouldn't be sorry. I mean,
always,
you know, as President Obama described, that was a shellacking, and I think was it 38 or 40 kinds. I don't think it'd be that severe, but I do think when we can reclaim the House, then there'll be no any kinds of legislation significantly, and that's why the Republicans.
There'll be no any kinds of legislation significantly, and that's why John, what are you talking about, brother? And that's why there'll be no any kinds of legislation significantly.
Aren't dumb. They understand
Republicans
that.
Aren't dumb, and they understand. It's like, brother, what did you just fucking say? John, excuse me?
38 or 40 kinds. I don't think it'd be that severe, but I do think when we can reclaim the House, then there'll be no any kinds of legislation significantly, and that's why the Republicans aren't dumb. They understand that the things that they want to do, it's all going to be front-loaded into the first 2 years, and that's why they're doing these things and using things like the executive orders. And as they've described it, they're flooding the zone. And now you have all of these different things, and you can't possibly, no one has the bandwidth to expand to all of those things.
One group of people that you really connect with that Democrats seem to have lost in the last couple of years are young men. And we keep hearing, well...
Yeah, dude, this guy, John Fetterman. These idiots thought forever people wanted to be like Mike Jordan. Wrong. They wanted to be like John Fetterman. You know...
Well, you got to listen to young men. You got to go on their podcasts. It has to be more than that.
John Fetterman, if he had a podcast.
What should Democrats do to win those voters?
No, I think Democrats, we should be a little more Tyler Durden and a little less Ted Lasso.
Oh my God. So she asks him about this. He's never seen any of these movies. He's like, I mean what I mean.
On their podcasts. It has to be more than that. What should Democrats do to win those voters?
No, I think Democrats, we should be a little more Tyler Durden and a little less Ted Lasso. You know, it's like, and now I was happy to go.
I don't know what that means.
Well, it just means
she's like, you fucking retard.
It's just like more kinds of those. I think that
Okay.
To win those voters.
No, I think Democrats, we should be a little more Tyler Durden and a little less Ted Lasso. You know, it's like, and now I was happy to go.
I don't know what that means.
Well, it just means it's just like more kinds of those. I think.
Well, guys, it just means. It's just one of those things.
That resonate with younger young men. You know, it's like I went on Joe Rogan, and it's.
I went on Joe Rogan.
Like I talked to all these
fucking
audiences
Forrest
too.
Gump here,
and
folks.
It's undeniable that migration has been well underway, and how we can bring a lot of them back, I'm not sure, but I try to be an authentic version and be very honest about where we're losing, and especially on talking about those union members. For example, the steelworkers. Back in 2015, 2016, I've witnessed that a majority, even maybe 2/3 of those members are voting for Trump. And that's already been underway. And that migration has helped cost what happened in 2024. And bringing them back is critical. And I'm hopeful that it is possible, but it's.
I think I figured out why he keeps looking at the floor. It can't possibly be because this 6'8" guy is such a bitch. You know what I mean? He's looking at the ground because he has like Post-it notes on the floor. He's on the ground looking for hints. He's like, you know, what are some things that, what are some things? You gotta be more Tyler Durden and then Jim Lasso.
It's gonna about a recalibration of what the party has
station,
been perceived
baby.
some of the things that have been kinds of our priorities.
Then if you had one message for President Trump, what would it be?
I'm saying, let's go big. Let's do something.
Go big how?
Go big.
And he's like, I'm not gonna change my party. I'm not changing my party. And then he goes, all right, so what's up?
And if you had one message
would you
for
say to
President Trump, what would it be?
I'm saying, let's go big. Let's do
Go
something.
big how?
Go big. Just do some of the big things about a legacy that you want, and you don't want your legacy to be chaos.
He would say he's doing big things.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying, it's just like, let's do things that aren't just about creating chaos and make those kinds of things. So
Let's just do things that aren't about doing chaos, and let's just do those kinds of things. This guy's he is actually fucking retarded.
for my thing, I don't
incredible.
understand why, when you have your second term, to engage in a lot of these divisive things. So that's what I would hope.
And what's your one message to Hakeem Jeffries?
Oh, I just be like, hey, dude, you want to have a beer?
This guy's an alcoholic.
You know, I mean, he has a hard job. I'm not going to judge or do that. I understand, you know, so for that. But for me, it's not about. I'm not in the business of giving. I'm not in the business of giving advice, except on.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
Fashion. That's my line. But for me, it is difficult, and I understand people watching see a lot of things that are chaotic, and are really. Distressing, and I agree with you with that. I do, but for anyone and all of the online things that I'm leaving a party,
I get it.
You know, it's like that's just not. It's just not true, and that's why I'm here today on your network. And even though I would be delighted to come back again and again to.
Dude, he's about to go he has some serious tar rage shit coming out here. He's gonna be like, you know, you guys never had me come back. You never had me come back.
Explain what the ongoing kind of dynamics on the ground.
Then before we go, it has been almost exactly 3 years since your stroke.
Yeah, that's
how
true.
are you feeling? And how has your health incident impacted your approach to politics?
I would describe it like nobody would choose to have that kind of a dark gift.
Dude. Nobody would ask. How have you been?
So how have you been, John, after your stroke? It's been 3 years. Tell us, you know, how have you been holding up? Has everything been okay?
Well, you know, it's like, you know, nobody would ask to have this kind of a dark gift. It's like, dude, you had a fucking stroke.
I would describe it like nobody would choose to have that kind of a dark gift. But for me, being able to come back.
From the dark
now
side.
my health has just been fantastic. My heart is functioning at an absolute normal functioning. And
my heart is functioning at absolute normal functioning.
But for me, being able to come back, and now my health has just been fantastic.
What, this ain't fucking anime, Bully Ranger. This is The Thing. And that's the Return of the Living Dead. And those are fake flowers. You know what I'm saying? Anime way. Ha ha.
My heart is functioning at an absolute normal functioning. And now, but I've discovered that after you've been through some of these things, that I think it's just a burden to be just absolutely honest. And
dude, it's a burden to be honest. He's like, I can't. He's like, I can't help but lie. I gotta lie.
Heard that after
it's such a burden to tell the truth.
You've been through some of these things.
Got a stroke.
That I think it's just a burden to be just absolutely honest and to just these kinds of core values. And some of the things.
It's a burden to be honest?
It's a burden to be honest, and just kind of these core values.
Well, or not honest, but just be like, there's some things that I know that are.
And like, brother, she goes, it's a burden to be honest. And he's like, well, not honest. It's like, you could have.
Core values. And some
it's
of the
things.
things.
It's a burden to be honest?
Well, or not honest, but just be like, there's some things that I know that are, you know, I think a person's a character is defined by things you're willing to do that move against your political interests. Some things you, and again, I understand,
Listen, guys, if you're an apolitical person, you couldn't possibly have character. You couldn't possibly have any, because that's what the definition of character is to do things that are against your political interest. It's like, in what world is that how you run a society? Like, what? Like, this guy should be, like, put in an asylum. It's a burden to be honest.
I've disappointed some people in my base with some of these things, whether it's like Israel or whether with border security. But I understand that was going to cost some support
more like
and some frustration.
Israel, am I right?
But it's like, to me,
Who's
it's
with
about
me?
following what I believe are the underlying truths in these circumstances.
But maybe it's a move against your political party's interest.
Yeah, it's also, he's like, yeah, my base is like mad about it. It's like, well, you're there to represent their interests, you fucking retard. You know, they don't like Israel, and I just gotta vote for them. I don't know why anybody would ever want to vote against them. Like, fuck.
But maybe not against your political interests, because 93 million Americans didn't vote. People feel like the government doesn't work for them. Could you be helping your party or yourself forge a path that's not about Democrats or Republicans, but it's just about Americans getting stuff done?
To fake away.
Yeah, I agree. And I despise the fact that phrase, America first, has been co-opted as having all the baggage and the history. For me, I think as a United States Senator for Pennsylvania, I am very much about America and working to find a better America. And it's getting increasingly difficult in such the kinds of polarizing, and you have to.
It's getting difficult to find a better America in all sorts of different kinds of polarizing.
Respond in a very angry, aggressive way, and I know that pays right now, but I'm not willing to do those kinds of things. I want to be the kinds of voice through this you can count on, and I'm always going to tell you my honest take. And there'll be my other colleagues that are willing to take more of extreme ways, but
it's like, you know, my colleagues are gonna, my colleagues are gonna represent their constituents maybe, and they'll vote against things like Israel, but that will never be me. That will never be me. The caveman. The caveman from Braddock, Pennsylvania. The mayor. So, this guy's political career, from what I understand, mayor, Braddock, Pennsylvania, shithole, like majority black town outside of Pittsburgh. He gets picked to be the lieutenant governor for Tom Wolf, and then he runs for senator, and here he is.
All those online conspiracy and things just aren't just that, conspiracies and weird, and they're not happening. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you, Tay, right now, and to be back on MSNBC, because there's almost been some kind of estrangement. I don't know why, because I'm always grateful to be.
He's ready to hit her.
Just giving it front and center for folks.
President Trump is surrounded by the wealthiest cabinet, the wealthiest administration in modern U.S. history.
It is
Does this concern you?
Caveman. You're right, brother.
I don't think it's so much about their wealth. It's just because they might have some kind of the views or some things that I don't agree, and they would push a lot of decisions and changes in our government that I wouldn't support or would like to see happen in there too. So it doesn't really follow their wealth. For me, it just follows some of these kinds of core beliefs and the things that they're willing to push and to do.
It's like, it couldn't possibly be that that they think they're just operating out of their self-interest, and that they have a different interest as multi-billionaires than you do, John.
What about this idea that we're sort of creating American oligarchs?
Yeah, and I was asked Democrats, like, start talking like a regular person. Most people are not sure what an oligarch is. You know, it's like, okay, is an oligarch, is it a rich dude or woman? Okay, well, but there's also a little secret too. Democrats, you know, we like billionaires if they're giving to our causes or to our party as well too.
But there's a difference. Hold on. There's a difference between a very wealthy donor.
It's unlimited money. It's unlimited money. That's the poison of American democracy. Get rid of unlimited money, and then that would render billionaires on either side to those kinds of a thing. And so remember,
it would render them to those kinds of a thing.
A lot of these billionaires that were in tech, they used to be more friendly to the Democratic interest in our party as well too. So,
but there's a
unlimited money, get rid of that, and that would transform America more than any single other decision.
Absolutely. We are 15 years and 2 months since the Citizens United decision, and it has changed politics.
True.
Forever, it seems. But there's a difference between very wealthy political donors and very wealthy people inside the government making decisions that could potentially enrich themselves and their business.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, John, you voted for a bunch of them. You voted to confirm a bunch of them. You fucking clown.
Businesses. Look at Elon Musk. He hasn't divested himself from his businesses, and he's a guy with $38 billion worth of government contracts. That's different from being a Democratic donor who has the president's ear or at the very least his phone number.
Well, what I would say is that sometimes it's still, you know, I'm not sure if they necessarily are motivated just, you know, based on money. When, you know, most of those folks, whether it's Bezos or Musk, they have far more than you can spend in 100 lifetimes.
He's like, brother, they're not doing it about money. They already got so much money. It's like, you've got to be fucking kidding me, John Fetterman. It's a tale as old as time. You know what I mean? Greed. It's a thing. You know, who uses a word like that? It's greed. They're rich. You get to a certain point, you just don't want anymore. It's like, brother, the guy's got like fucking $300 billion. You didn't get to that point yet? Are you fucking kidding me? You know, their motivation is just not about money. It's like, no, it's what the fucking money can buy them. And it's power. But this guy knows that he's just a dishonest. He might not, though. I don't know. He's truly retarded.
Times. So for that, I think, I think scarcity defines the luxury. So that's why a lot of them want to be engaged on that, because they have unlimited money. So I think they want to be part of the conversation. So because, you think that
he's like, they got unlimited money, so I think they just want to be a part of the conversation. As if they're not. That seems to be like all the conversations ever is about these fucking people.
But Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, they're there for altruistic reasons. They're not there to help their businesses or themselves.
What I'm saying is,
Jeff Bezos, guy who like 4 years ago, when asked like, well, how do you even like spend your money? And he's like, I got to go to space. He's like, I got to go to space. I got to spend my money. I got to go to space to like spend it.
Is that, is it meaningful different to be worth 100 billion, 150 billion, or 200 billion? I mean, I don't think it really means much to a lot of them, because someday they could be up $20 billion or they could be down 50 or whatever. They just keep bouncing. Same where there's Zuckerberg.
Up, down.
But so for me, it's like it must not be just only about their money. I think it means about wanting to be a part, because like I said, scarcity defines the luxury. And when you have unlimited money, there must be some other kinds of dynamic.
You don't think it helps their businesses?
Well,
exactly. Like this, she's incredulous over here. She's like, this guy is like, he actually believes this shit. He's not even like a fucking, like, I mean, I can't say he's not like he's not like a shill. Like he's not paid to do this. He's a fucking moron.
Well, I mean, sometimes it might help. Sometimes it hurts.
Where?
That is too.
Where are Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Mark Zuckerberg? Where have they been hurt in the Trump administration? Because I can point to things.
All of they're fucking. They've all, like, doubled their net worth.
In the last 2 months,
I'm saying businesses
helpful.
are going to in line with the prevailing administration and those kinds of values. I mean, obviously, a business is a property-seeking entity. You know,
Amen, Chipper Jones.
So for me, they might move with a lot of the way the political waters flow. So for me,
they might move a way that the political waters flow. It's like, brother, it could be argued quite convincingly, I think, that like they direct which way the wind is blowing. You know what I'm saying? To blow these waters in whichever direction they want to.
It's like, I don't think it's billionaires taking over the country. I think it's just people with a lot of money, and we can spontaneously stop it by...
Guys, I don't think it's billionaires taking over the country. I just think it's people with a lot of money. That's a billionaire. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
By cutting off unlimited money, because we operate in the only...
We can't fix the problem with money in politics if we just cut off unlimited money.
Business that I'm aware of,
I know,
where you can spend unlimited money to destroy someone's reputation. I've had over $100 million to blast me apart.
It's like they tried to fucking gun me down in the streets.
And somehow I survived. But now, you have the ability to drop $50 million and break someone's jaw, you know, with paid media. That's a real thing. And until we...
You break someone's jaw with that money and the media that you buy with it, he's that shit over there is breaking just like he's crushing this insolent woman's skull with facts and logic.
We fix that, it's gonna,
she will
you know,
be
it's
killed
gonna escalate.
By his
Mine was
intelligence.
it was the most expensive race for the Senate of all time, but that was only 22, and now that was completely...
Oh, and you guys know who he beat to win his Senate seat? Dr. Oz. You gotta be like fucking kidding me. Dr. Oz is now running the show at Medicare.
Eclipsed in 2024, whether in Ohio or Montana and those things. So, and the next cycle, unless you change unlimited money, it's just gonna continue to spiral into infinity.
She's like, would you vote for that if it came up to a vote? Would you vote to like get rid of unlimited money? Well, we can't fix the problem with unlimited money if we don't have the money.
Are you going to lead legislation to try to do that?
Oh, I would love that, but you have the Supreme Court with a...
I would love that, but it does. Everything you just said doesn't matter. Tell me why you wouldn't do it, you fucking bald freak.
A 6-3. And that's why you have to assume that's going to continue until many of those, you know, men and women on the court and can just be fair enough to say this is poisoning and warping our democracy. $1 billion is not a voice. That is a lot more money, and it's an undeniable true. So I'm not gonna.
That's an undeniable true. Undeniable true.
Pander or pretend that money is far too much important in this business. Should be
cash rules everything around me.
More about ideas and actual voter engagement, not just chasing money. And now
can't spell engagement without gay. Like you, John Fetterman, you bald fuck.
Now with unlimited money, when $20 million can just weaponized spontaneously.
Do you like your job, sir?
It's an honor. It's true.
Do you like your job, sir? It's an honor.
Really an honor. But people think it's glamorous. But
when I think John Fetterman, I think glamorous.
It's like I have a small 400 squares apartment, and it's incredibly expensive.
400 square foot apartment for this big ogre? No way. This guy, no. It's like, brother, first, you said you lived in Pittsburgh across from a steel mill. We know that's not true because you don't drive back and forth to DC. You live in DC now. You have a house in Pittsburgh, Braddock area. You're not renting, so you own it. This guy's just a liar.
And when I leave you here tonight, I'm going to decide, is it going to get off Grubhub and watch kind of lousy TV on Netflix or whatever, so it's not House of Cards
And it's like, brother, senators make like $170,000 a year, probably. What the fuck? He's like, it's not a glamorous life. It's like, dude, you make like fucking 4 of my incomes. Kill yourself.
It's not kinds of, intrigue. It's so people think it's all about glamour
Nobody
and snappy
thinks that.
dialogue in like the West Wing, and it's not true. So it is an incredible honor, and I never understand why some people will spend tens of millions of dollars to be a part of this, but
I don't understand why billionaire, millionaire give donation because they get to exert influence through you fucking vessels, you criminals.
It's not really designed for someone with 3 young kids, and their lives are not centered here in D.C. I miss them terribly, and I have a lot of guilt sometimes. I'm missing important parts of their lives.
Dude, this man is rife with guilt. He's a survivor. Look, the face of trouble.
Being here.
For a job that in some instances is thankless. Then do you definitely want to run again?
Better days.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I want to be part of this conversation, but for me, what's really important for me.
Guys, like, stop with all the conversations. There's so many conversations happening. One at a time. I want to be part of the conversation. The billionaires want to be part of the conversation.
Is remaining true to core values and refuse to pander or to respond to the kinds.
To respond to your constituents. Pander. This guy is nuts.
Of overwhelming dynamic against this. So I'm trying to fake a way forward.
I'm trying to fake a way forward. Incredible.
Respond to the kinds of overwhelming dynamic against this. So I'm trying to fake a way forward. That's difficult.
What does that mean, fake a way forward?
Well, it just means it's like,
What does fake a way forward mean? Well, it just it just means it's one of those things. You either get it or you don't.
We're all very jealous. I wish I had an.
What does that mean? We're all very jealous. What?
Incredibly safe blue seat, because they're free to get on and and yell. But those aren't the kinds of states that decide, who gets the Iron Throne.
No, Dingo, he said that on purpose. He actually meant fake away. Well, I mean, he said, what do you mean, fake away? He's like, well, it's one of those things. It just means. It's like, no, John, tell us more. I'm starting to like this lady. Yeah, dude. She starts off the interview. He starts just like fucking psycho babbling, and she's, what are you even talking about, John? What the fuck are you talking about, John?
And, I'm the only federal statewide member that represents the most purple land in.
It's not true, dude. You think there's 2 senators from Pennsylvania, him and Dave McCormick, and he's like, I'm the only statewide federal. The person who represents the purplest state in the union. It's like, brother, there's a whole other senator. There's an entire other senator.
In America.
That's how there's 100 of you. That's how 100 of you exist. 2 from each state, John.
Oh, that's hard, and that's difficult, and that's true politics. It's much different than to have the kind of freedom, whether you're in Oklahoma or in Connecticut, because those are safe seats, and they become the loudest kinds of voices. And now, because that's only the incentives based on the way electorally that it's set up.
What?
Well, you're not the loudest, but you're definitely the tallest. So, Western PA.
Yeah, well, that might change. Well, you know, like my.
Okay, so she's talking about in the Senate, and now he's gonna fucking be like, you know, I have a friend that's fucking gonna be somewhere else.
Friend is lieutenant governor in Michigan.
I have a friend. He doesn't even know who his friend is. Doesn't even know his name or where he's from. John, wake up!
LG Gilchrist is.
He doesn't even know his name, Gildrich. Who is named? Who is Gildrich?
Running for governor. You know, he's
lieutenant governor.
You know, he claims he's taller than him, but he's not. I think I am, but we're both about 6'8", but we'll figure it out. But, you know, he's running for governor now in Michigan, and I certainly, he'd make a great one.
And he said he certainly make a good one. The best of one. Holy fuck. Come on, John. Wake up, brother. But hey, folks, I have to get out of here. I have to work tomorrow. But then I'm off for 2 days. I think I'm going to start streaming over here now. Yeah, there, exactly, Dingo. My friend, Larry Ridgewood. Yeah, Larry Ridgewood. My friend Larry Ridgewood, he's running for governor. You know, my good friend Southerner, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna hop off here. But like I said, I think I'm gonna be streaming over here now. It seems like it works a lot better. There've been less nonsense to deal with. So, I don't know. I'll talk to you guys later. Let me find something here. Actually, I'm not going to be doing that. We'll listen to some Weather Channel music on the way out. But I'll see you guys later. I gotta go. I gotta go to bed. Big tired. Dingo, come on the program with me. Not right now, but anytime in the next 2 days. See ya.